Today is Monday, January 24th, 2022. Um, like I say, first and foremost, Happy New Year to the people out there that are watching. Um, and we just like to, with me and Lillian here, we like to give an update on the Omicron and, just in general, our procedures are coming up with trying to deal with this new variant. I'd like to give a shout out to Synovus for supplying us these new N95 masks. They're available at the office for everybody at the nation. If you want to come and grab some, these are the new ones that are recommended. As to these ones are more of a seal and high and better protection for the people. Like I said, there's not much we can do. That variant is all over Alberta now. The best thing we could do is, like I said,
Take the precautions that
take
we
the
need to.
precautions, wear the mask, and if you got your shots, you have a better chance of fighting off this variant. But even your first one, if you got your first one, there's no reason why you can't come and get your second one. Believe me, I'm all vaxxed up now. I'm ready to go, and
Yay.
leave it to Lillian to give us a little update.
Sure. Well, first off, with the N95 masks, you're going to notice that it's not the ear loop mask. They have actually two little loops in the front. So the best way to get these things on is just simply to pull those loops to the front, put this up over top of your nose, and then start with that bottom loop. I got to start with bottom loop. If I can find it. There we go. And then just pull that up over top of your head to the back, and then that top one up to the back as well. Make sure that you seal it in around the nose,
Yes.
and make sure you're not sucking air in from underneath the chin or in through the nose here. So you actually have to make a fairly good tight seal.
Tight seal, yes.
Yeah, and these are really good. The surgical masks are still effective, but if you have access to an N95 and if these have been provided for us, then absolutely. If you're in a crowded situation, these are good to use.
So those would be good for like people that want to go shopping per se, Walmart, grocery shopping or whatever. Just in general around town where there's a lot of traffic, these will be the way to go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely. So I guess one of the reasons we're here today is because we are kind of seeing a change in the way that we're managing the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
both as a community, as a province, nationally, we're starting to see those changes being made, and I think for some it's producing a little bit of anxiety. You probably noticed that we took our dashboard and numbers down because really our numbers are inconsequential at the moment. With at-home testing going on, we really don't have a true indication as to what our actual numbers are on reserve. But I can tell you that COVID is marching its way across our reserve. But for the most part, everybody has been experiencing mild to moderate illnesses, and we
Mm-hmm.
have vaccinations to thank for that. We have 76.8% of our population over at 18 who are fully vaccinated. I mean, that is truly a good place to be. I would love to see that number at 100%, and I'm not going to stop until we hit 100%, because when we can get to 100%, we can stop COVID from being transmitted, period, right? We can hopefully stop it in its tracks, but until the whole entire world gets there, we are going to have to deal with COVID on a daily basis. And so, how do we learn to live with COVID and move forward in a positive way? And I guess that's kind of what the country is grappling with, and the province is grappling with, and what we are grappling with here as a reserve as well. So, there have been some rule changes I think it's worth going over. If you are fully vaccinated and you get COVID or you get some of the core symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
then you are legally required to isolate at home for 5 full days until those symptoms are resolved or are resolving, and you have been fever free for 24 hours without any medication. Okay, so that's the rule if you are vaccinated. Now, if you are unvaccinated, you still must isolate if you have those core symptoms for 10 full days, or until the symptoms disappear. Again, ensuring that those symptoms have resolved or are resolving, and you're fever free for 24 hours. So there is a difference, and I know that's kind of anxiety producing for some, between the vaccinated and unvaccinated, but that's just kind of where we're at in Alberta right now. And we need to start being able to, I guess, move forward in a positive way. We've had our lives kind of put on hold in the last 2 years. And I look at our schools and how our school children have suffered and lost out. I look at even our various departments and having to hold back on really essential, programs and planning and stuff that we needed to do here. And I look forward to 2022 and being able to actually start moving forward with some of that. And we can do that because we have many tools at our disposal. We're in a great place compared to what we were only a year ago.
Oh, I know for that. Like for somebody that got ended up in the ICU for firsthand for COVID, that's quite life changing for one thing.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I'm very blessed and very to be sitting here talking to the people. But like I said, there's still that awareness and all that. For you don't want people to get sick like I did, and just if they could take that precautionary measure to go get a shot, or if you feel symptoms, just be safe about it.
Be
That's all I
safe.
say. Yes.
Yeah. And that's what I say. We have a lot of tools at our disposal. And so if you haven't been vaccinated, I encourage you to really maybe take a step back and look at vaccinations, look at the data. Look at some of the good research that's out there. Just don't believe the stuff on social media, but actually do some of your own research. We've been vaccinating now for over a year, and we have yet to have an adverse reaction on our reserve. The vaccines are very safe. We've had a few robust immune responses, and actually, I'm high-fiving those who had a robust immune response because that tells me the vaccines are working. So vaccinations being the first and foremost layer of protection that we have against COVID now and COVID in the future. So if you haven't been vaccinated, fully vaccinated means that you've had at least 2 doses and you're 2 weeks from your last dose.
Yes.
I am encouraging the third booster. So boosters are available to boost that immunity back up 5 months after your second dose. Okay, and this research actually just last week, there was some new studies released that showed those booster doses are very effective against Omicron in particular. Again, if you're due for your third dose, come in and get your third dose. But let's not forget that there's other layers of protection that we can add on top of that help to protect us in various situations. So masking and switching up your mask to an N95. Hand sanitizing or hand washing. Hand washing is actually the best when it's available to you.
Mm-hmm.
Social distancing, making sure you know that you're not congregating in small, tight rooms. Opening up those windows and ventilating those rooms where you can. And as well, just generally assessing your own risk. So every time that we go out and we participate in different groups or in different settings, we have to assess that risk and make sure that we're able to take that risk or accept that risk that might be associated with that. And so, like I said, we've got a lot more tools. We've got therapeutics now that have also been approved in Canada. So if you're in one of those age categories, where you're 55 and unvaccinated, you may actually qualify for some of the therapeutics that are out there. If you have an immune compromising condition, you may also qualify for some of the therapeutics that are out there. And so those are slowly starting to roll out in the country, and that's going to help us along in, I guess, managing COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but ultimately, I think where we're going as a country is more moving to that endemic state.
Yes.
More moving towards, we're going to have to learn to live with COVID. And so we just use all the tools and education that have been given to us over the past 2 years, and we make the best choices that we can. And so I guess that's where it basically falls on each individual. I ask my staff every morning to do their self-assessment. If I wake up in the morning and I don't feel well, I'm staying home 5 full days until those symptoms disappear. Okay? I ask that you do that with each of your own staff and your own families and your kids before you send them to school. So this just has to become a normal part of life.
So do we have the rapid test available for the members?
We do. So we do have rapid testing available. We have the rapid tests at the health center. You can come and pick them up 1 box per person.
Okay.
We try to give a few for each household. However, our supply is a little bit slow right now in getting that supply in. We're getting down to our last few boxes. But you know what? It's not so much taking the test. The tests are useful. But honestly, I've seen a lot of people take too much comfort in getting a negative test result.
Yes.
And remember, a test is a moment in time. So although you might test negative
one
this
day,
morning,
yeah, it takes like 5 days for it to show up, kind of deal.
So a better, I guess, use of those tests and what I've been telling people is if you're sick, come in and grab the test, like the test kits. But I want you to be a good 24 to 36 hours into your symptoms before you actually test. And I've been seeing it a lot, especially with the vaccinated, because their viral load is a lot lower because the vaccines are actually doing what they should.
Yes.
They're keeping that viral load low. So sometimes we don't have enough of the virus in our system for those tests to really pick it up right off the hop. So it's important, like I said, more importantly, stay home if you are sick. And then, like I said, about 24 to 36 hours into your illness, then utilize those tests. Okay. So like I said, there's a few changes going on. If you guys have questions in regards to, where you need to go with your business, with your family, programming, you can always reach out and ask us. There's also a really good website with alberta.ca that has all the posted restrictions and all the guidelines for isolating and quarantining and all that good stuff. So although we're trying to move forward, we do still have some public health restrictions that we must abide by as a community, even within the province of Alberta. There's still some restrictions there, although I do know the Premier has indicated to us that, as we move forward over the next few weeks, they are looking at lightening some of those
Oh, yes.
restrictions. And so I was impressed to see the other day that the FCSS was moving forward with Spring Carnival.
Yes.
That's actually a great example of how to plan things. So they've planned this to be outside. Great ventilation. We can be safe. We can ensure that people are masked, that they're vaccinated. We can ensure that all those program measures are in place so that we can do things safely. And I think that's the point that I just really want to hammer home.
And another thing is we're wondering what's the difference between the common cold and Omicron, because a lot of people would just have per se symptoms of a cold per se, but not the Omicron. Like, is there a difference? How would you differentiate the two?
distinguish
Yeah,
between the two?
yes.
Other than a test, there's really no way to distinguish
Yeah, like
between
I
the
said.
two. So right now, our general rule of thumb is if you are sick, assume at this point that it's Omicron because it's circulating like heavily throughout our population.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, if you're sick, stay home 5 full days.
Yeah, I
That's the message.
just threw it out because some people were saying like they tested negative, but they still get this like still cold symptoms. So like, I just thought, well, there's always got to be a difference between the two of them because prior to COVID, I know people had the common cold. Now it seems like it doesn't exist anymore.
Well, it does still exist, but the measures that we use in order to fight COVID are the same
Yes,
measures that
exactly.
help to prevent
Symptoms
the
are the
spread of
same,
the flu
yes.
and the cold, right?
Yes.
So, and like I said, with Omicron being a much milder variant compared to the one that you
Yes.
had, which was Delta.
Oh yes.
Like, I mean, the Delta we knew hit you like a ton of bricks,
that's
right? Like,
bad
I mean, it
stuff.
affected your breathing, it affected
Everything.
like all of your systems, where Omicron seems to really
Just a
isolate
mild, yes,
itself
like
in the upper airway.
Yes.
So mostly people are getting like a sore throat, runny nose, maybe a cough.
Yeah, that's
fever.
right. And the symptoms probably only last for 5 days. I talked to a few guys I know that work up in Calgary in the industry and part like that, and they told me that they tested positive, and they're like, I don't feel sick whatsoever.
Yeah,
I didn't even know. I
and
didn't even know because one of them said I tested negative one day, and like you said, 3 days
Positive the
later he was
next.
positive.
Yeah.
Then he kind of isolated, and he said like, I feel fine. Had like a little itchy throat for a day or two, and then other than that, I feel perfect. Like it was
Yeah.
just mildest symptoms.
Well, and that just shows you the power of vaccination.
Yes.
Those who are vaccinated do tend to actually have very mild symptoms, or even some who don't experience any symptoms at all.
Yes.
And so that just is, I guess, a testament to the fact
So
that
even-
it is lowering that viral load, so you're not putting a lot out
Yeah,
to that
you could be
environment.
asymptomatic and not even feel it and
And
still
not even
test
feel
positive.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, I do know that some employers still have their work mandates in place, test every 72 hours, and I encourage that. If that's your work mandate, then do it. But here on the reserve, like, I mean, our rule of thumb going forward will be when you wake up in the morning and if you don't feel well, stay home.
Yes.
Stay home for 5 days until those symptoms disappear, because nobody wants your symptoms at work.
Yes. Like it says, comes down to just preemptive and precautionary measures
Absolutely.
for you, the community, and the people. And that's why we sit here. That's for chief and council. Our main goal is the safety of the nation and the people's health. So
Absolutely. And we have to protect one another.
that's
so.
why we reached out and got these new masks for each and every one of you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much our message for today. Again, the health center is here. We are offering vaccinations Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Thursdays and Fridays by appointment only, depending on our vaccine availability on those days.
Mm-hmm.
We are actually starting to have COVID clinics at our school. There'll be consent forms coming out to the parents for any children who want to be vaccinated at the school. We can absolutely arrange for that to happen. So consent forms are headed out the door today. If you would like your child vaccinated, please send that consent form back in. Only those children who we received a signed consent and fully filled out consent form will be vaccinated. And if you want to be with your child, then give us a call. We open a vial of child's vaccines Wednesday afternoon, and we offer that to our kids during that time. So again, you can always call us and make an appointment directly, or we can arrange to do that at the school for you if that's more convenient. And to all the rest of you out there who have yet to receive your vaccines, give us a call. Ask your questions. That's what we're there for. And hopefully we'll see you at our next vaccination clinic. All right.
Thank you for the update, and that's all we got to say for today. Thank you guys. Wish you guys have a great day, a great week. Stay safe.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you.